and shut down.
I nearly said good afternoon. It's not been that long. Good morning. Welcome back to Ulti.tv's coverage of Vienna Spring Break here in the aforementioned Austrian capital, Benjamin Rees, alongside Corey Sostray with our first Open Division action of the weekend with FUJ from the Czech Republic taking on Fire of London. And it's going to be Fire in the white jersey starting on offense, and I say starting, we're stopping a little bit because of an early pick. FUJ been kind of hovering around the top four, maybe threatening those semi-finals berth, but a consistent quarter-finalist now in Europe. Fire in London haven't really been at Europe's top table for a few years now. Hoping maybe that this tournament could kickstart a little bit of a resurgence for them, perhaps. So far, just trying to work it underneath Fire. That one's going to float a little bit, might allow a defender to close in, not quite. But going to be caught out of bounds, and there's the game's first turnover.
As well say, Benji, just kind of seeing it over on the other sideline, just because of our perspective, it does look like it was out, but the narrow sideline.
Yeah, it's just got, sometimes it probably will take a little bit of adjustment. First game of the weekend for both these sides, so you can understand it. Fakes the big look there, instead swings it central. Fire sideline trying to give a little bit of help. Big demonstrative fakes there to move around the defenders. Working around, still looking towards the end zone.
Nice.
That one's a little bit close, and that one is finally just about going to sneak in there. And FUJ will break to take the game's first point. What do you make of that, Corey?
I think it was pretty smooth. Both of them had nice facilitating offenses. Again, just that close sideline from Fire of London right there kind of stopped their offensive flow, but then FUJ just kind of going down the field, just working it, kind of going along those sidelines, and then having that first to the cone reaction, as we always say. So I think it was pretty good. Pretty good first point.
Corey, would you like a little bit of a breather?
We can tap it.
Yeah, all right. Let's we'll give Corey a little bit of a little bit of time off, and we'll bring in a bit more of an expert on FUJ here today. It is a pleasure to after what has been a very strange few years of not being in a booth together. Rahel Toshnedova, good to have you back.
Hi Benji, so excited to be back and back behind the mic as well.
Isn't it great?
I was trying to sneak in Bologna, but the schedule just didn't allow me. So I was like, I have to get back here, and especially on my beloved FUJ. They're not all my beloved ones, but we will see.
There are a number who are.
Especially if they do well against Fire.
So no time like the present in terms of that deep look. And just not necessarily winning the height matchup there, getting a defender to come over the top.
Brach picks up immediately. Has Halamka under, finds him.
That one's going to sail. Fen, I think he tried to catch it, he didn't, but didn't matter. Could just knock it to the turf and they're still good to go. So just a little bit of a throwing error there from FUJ. That'll frustrate them surely. Whittle comes underneath. Little lead throw out to this side, and maybe just asked a little bit too much of the receiver this early in the day.
Doherty covering the dump nicely, I must say. And FUJ to pick up again in that corner, but this time they center it safely to the hands of Brach. Halamek now looking for the deep shot, doesn't take it. Has Brach up line, resets towards the middle. Now Fire doing a good job poaching the lane, not allowing too much advancement from FUJ.
Yeah, everything's being played within the shadow of that end zone so far, and Fire of London won't mind this one bit, just really testing FUJ's patience, you think.
FUJ again stuck on the sideline, but this time they get the deep off, and it sails safely in the hands of Robert, originally from the team BSEC, also in Southern Bohemia.
And that is another break for FUJ, taking a 2-0 lead in this game. As you look at the kind of the relative position of these sides in Europe, you would expect FUJ to be the winners in this game, but especially so early in the season, you never quite know what to expect, I think.
100%, especially at tournaments like this, which are not officially any preparation tournaments for the European League or something like that. So teams do bring different rosters to try out different teams, different combinations. With FUJ, it's certainly the case. Lots of youngsters on this team, seeing if they can find their spot on the final list of players going to EUCF.
Whereas with this Fire team, there are a number of veteran presences that are coming back to enjoy all that Austria has to offer. Here's one of them, Jaipuria, just dissing the dish off quickly. They're running a lot of give-go, trying to get that movement down quickly, but that's going to stop things there with a little bit of a pick in the middle of the stack. Everyone just getting their positions set. They're just going to be checked back in. Here's the big shot coming. This is going to invite a little bit of pressure towards the back of the end zone. And it ricochets off the receiver's fingertips.
Michal Chutka trying to get his position there. And eventually he did force his player under just a bit. Yeah, enough to get the D, yeah.
Yeah, one of those intimidation Ds that we were talking about in the previous contest, that even if you don't necessarily get a finger on it, sometimes you don't need to. It's enough just to offset the receiver's rhythm. This is a deep ball that's going to invite a lot of pressure, and Fire do well there to earn the disc back.
Quite a few turnovers in this point already. Fire again with not so many options under. Finally they get it off.
Yeah, now disc on the sideline with Jaipuria. He's put it deep himself. He's trying to get that blade to arc over the defender, but a really good play there. It's going to be potential of a call.
They're thinking about it. We're going to have a replay here. Novak is underneath it. He stretches out.
It's close, but actually in the end the receiver decided there's no call. And I like that, taking the time to think about it, and then actually, you know what? Nothing there. retract any call and just play on as that huck from FUJ went out early, and it did not come back in.
Yep, so the players are going to start pretty far back, so close to the FUJ end zone, actually.
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, the best starting field position for Fire so far this game. We'll see what they can do with it. Probably a little bit further, maybe about level with the attacking Brickmark, but of course on the sideline, immediately trying to get that disc off in central, the position where perhaps you have more space to work with downfield. A low throw, got round the bit on the mark, but it couldn't find the receiver. Another turn.
Just to give the boys a little bit of credit, Benji, it does not look like it's windy at all, but there are some occasional gusts of wind which are that much more unexpected, so to speak.
Yeah, because it feels like it's so still that when it comes off, it catches you off guard. This one, I think, is going to come back in bounds, and that is a brilliant deep look there from FUJ to take a 3-0 lead.
František Willimek to Martin Prach. Willimek being the younger of the two Willimek brothers on this team. We have maybe the better known Maciej Willimek, who's been playing for quite a while, but his younger brother is slowly and steadily catching up with the Willimek reputation. Martin Prach, of course, a long time FUJ player, currently lives in the Netherlands, I believe. Tried out with Groot for Worlds. I'm not sure if what did it end up being, if he's going with them or not. But nonetheless, 3-0 for FUJ.
Yeah, it's a good start to this game, certainly. From a Czech perspective, I was going to really shoehorn in perspective, but it didn't work. There's a very Czech-looking man standing directly in front of us with a very Czech name. How's that pronounced? Doherty? Is that right? Well, I'm not very good with Czech.
Well, with British fans watching, I'm sure that's how they would pronounce it. And a deep shot from Fire.
That is really well weighted. Again, the defender got close, didn't quite get close enough. Players flooding forward to try and get this first Fire point of the game, but nothing's coming on. Not a lot of support instantly, but they're able to get the reset off. Towards that far sideline. And it just allowed that window for the defender to come in and knock it away.
And this time another young rocket, Ondřej Petričák with the defense. Vavra picks up, gets it to the middle. Riedlo to Petričák. Petričák looks for the upline. Riedlo with a beautiful inside forehand to wide open Stepan Kříž in the end zone. Stepan Kříž, of course, making a name for himself at the UCF, having a great game against, what was it? Ranelagh? Nah. I know, Chuck, where he got a lot of Ds. I think he is a very fast player. Recently broke both of his arms.
What?
He was trying to make a personal record jumping for a hoop, which he did, and he was so amazed with himself that he could finally, with his height, touch the hoop, that he forgot that he was supposed to land safely and landed on both his arms and broke them both, missed the indoor season.
Well, you can see the breakaway speed there on this deep look, but also this is a beautiful throw. Just a lovely sort of voluptuous inside-out shape on it.
For Riedlo, it's quite signature, really, these low-release forehands. He can throw them basically any distance.
Yeah, FUJ have become a real presence on the European all-out scene. You feel like that true breakout season is probably just around the corner if they haven't already had it. And remember them taking down La Fotta in the pool stages at Euros a few years ago as well in the airport fields out in Caola, Italy.
And that's a lovely pull.
It's got hang time, it's got flow, and it drifts at the back of the end zone. Real coffin corner situation for Fire, and it wouldn't surprise me if they try and bang their way out of it. But actually, they've shown some good discipline to work it underneath, and they've got it right on this sideline. There's the deep put, blading back in bounds, and just allowed two FUJ defenders to come in and close.
both Halamka and Brach getting that disc and now working as handlers. We have Sladek giving it to Brach. Again, the poaches from Fire in the open side. We're struggling a bit, trying to get position.
They're trying to work smarter rather than harder, so to speak. They're trying to think, how can we be a bit more efficient with what we're doing? Because in terms of legs and athleticism across the roster, maybe we might not match up. Has isolated that reset nice and early.
Halamka on the sideline. Finds Doherty in the middle, who obviously looks for the open space and puts it out to Bohdal, Jan Bohdal. That is probably the youngest gun on the team.
How young are we talking?
For me, everyone's just young, you know.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
29 or 14, it's kind of, they're just all younger. But I believe he's 16.
That is young. That is sickeningly young, in fact. But not that I'm bitter or anything. Timeout's going to be taken here, not necessarily a surprise, with FUJ 5-0 up in this game. You're playing this weekend, of course, as I can tell by the resplendent pink flamingo jerseys for 3SB. How did your first game go?
Well, I'm actually only wearing a 3SB jersey, so is the rest of my team, but we're not here as 3SB.
Oh.
We put together a Slavic sisterhood team.
Of course you did.
With girls from Slovakia, Czech Republic, Poland, and the Ukraine. So just a lovely reminder that the Slavs can stick together.
How's it going?
We had our first game against Jinx, not to be mistaken with the Jinx that was in Bologna. These are the Masters ladies who are going to be competing in Limerick in the summer. And we won by a few points, I think 12-9 or something like that, 13-10. But a lovely, lovely, positive-spirited morning game. But to let you in on some insider info, I don't think FUJ were necessarily expecting to do so well against Fire. So are you saying that the team is more of a veteran team as well, Fire?
Yeah, this is not the it's not necessarily Fire at their best, I don't think, which is kind of to be expected. It's an early season tournament. Maybe you haven't got your full roster set out. So they've got some newer, younger players. They've got some much more experienced faces as well, and yeah. But
I'm thinking of a great pun, but I think it might be a bit too much.
What, are you saying that some of them might be a little bit burnt out?
Yes. Is that somebody used it already?
No. But I saw what you were thinking. I liked it. Yeah. They're seeing if they can relight the fire
We've all been there. We've all been there. It's all good.
Rekindle those embers. Ball's going to land out of bounds, so Fire will get this at the brick mark. So far, FUJ lead 5-0, and they've broken on each and every single one of those points. It's not been all bad from Fire. They've had some nice passages of play, just haven't linked it together all the way down the pitch just yet. Tight space reset off there. Cutters scuttling and scurrying around downfield. Again, his signature, purposeful, very deliberate, unorthodox fakes. Trademark of the Fire game.
I think FUJ is sticking with Mandy. This was actually a smart look. Oh, they get it. Nice.
That's a really good toe in. Into the centre, little pop off there. Trying to get their handlers to really orchestrate the play. On the sideline. Underneath option, still tight to the sideline. Is in bounds, just going to point him back to the spot. Cholowski looks around, wants to try and find this handler on the reset, does eventually get it there. Mark just going to sag off a little bit to stop that throw underneath. And we was up in the air, got a little bit of a push in the back. But Fire finally get on the board, but they still trail 5-1.
I think Fire are just they need to get used to FUJ being really tight on the person D.
Yeah.
It seemed like they had some open options, but just didn't take them because the defender was so close. And I think in a game like this, you just have to take what they give you. But a wonderful break side opener there, which actually finally got Fire moving.
Yeah, maybe they're just taking a little bit of time to warm up, perhaps.
And here again, the nice reset. Sagan Doherty allowing the open side pass with a bit of a push.
So whereabouts in the Czech Republic are FUJ from? Is it centered in one location, or is it kind of just more generally across the country?
Don't even get me started, Benji. Well, FUJ originally started as a Prague team who, for international tournaments, started traveling internationally back in, I would say, 2006 or something like that, very quite some time ago, and would pick up players from all over the country, good players who were willing and wanting to play internationally. And eventually it developed into sort of a team of its own. Right now you will find players mostly from 3SB, but also from other teams. Ridlo there on the sideline is from Terrible Monkeys. Vilimek and Vavra, who are also on the line now, are 3SB. Misha Marek now with the score, also a 3SB player. But like I said, we have players from Písek and Chlupatá Žába, quite a few Czech teams. But like I said, they all got a taste of what it's like to play at the top, and now they feel like if they did that separately, they would never get to the level they want to be at.
Yeah.
So they're definitely, I think they have a certain plan that I'm not like 100% acquainted with, but there was like a 3-year plan which is, I think, ending this year, of cooperation between FUJ and 3SB. Also, FUJ recently joined as the Czech team, as the normal Czech team. They recently joined with Yellow Fever. So Yellow Fever used to be, I think some people will remember it. So they're now
and
gone.
We had the crossover Yellow Fever for a
exactly
for a little bit,
for a while. That was in the women's. Yeah. So now it's just FUJ. So Yellow Fever has joined with FUJ now completely.
Yeah, that last offensive point there from FUJ. Fire came out in the zone, didn't bother them at all. They got past the first pass and then bang, 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 just dinked and dunked their way down the field and then transitioned into an end zone set and finished it with aplomb. And now it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a zone of their own from the Czechs here. Interesting, trying to switch things up a little bit.
I think this might be quite hard for them because they've only had one training camp together so far, and even though they've already played Hamburg and Bologna, it's completely different rosters for each of the tournaments, so you always have to integrate the new people.
But this is why you come to these early season sort of warm-up style tournaments, so you can iron out the kinks, try and get people on the same page, put people in different roles perhaps, see what they can do.
100%. And I would think that Fire would be rather happy with a zone defense.
Yeah, you can't say that going one-on-one wasn't working for FUJ because they're 6-1 up in this game. But again, got to try different things, I guess. So far, this is all going on within the shadow of Fire's end zone. They're staying patient as that one is tipped, and does it stay up?
I couldn't see I had a player in the view, but maybe we will get a replay. Yes, we will.
I think they're going to call it a turn on the field, and yeah, that seems good to me because I think it's Halamak who is just standing exactly in the way, which happens.
Prach now signaling that he wants to receive the disc in the back, and he finds a wide open Daniel Sladek in the end zone. Sladek again being a younger one of two brothers. Pepa Sladek, Josef Sladek is not here this weekend. He's working to make money for the rest of the season. But I think his younger brother is doing him justice, I think.
Yeah, that is often the way it goes.
He looks about 16 too, but in fairness to him, he's turning 20 in 3 months, I think.
Still young.
Still young, yeah.
That is still young. It must be something in the water in the Czech Republic that keeps people looking young. I say water. When I went to the Czech Republic, I did not drink much water.
Well, then I'm the weirdest Czech of all because I've never had a beer in my life.
Yeah, that is weird, to be honest. You're letting the side down. I kid.
But I do invite you all to join us all in Budweiser, where the Budweiser beer is from, and the lovely 3SB team is from.
It's on my list of places to go. I will say that. I've been meaning to go back to the Czech
Come
Republic.
for the women's tournament in July, the Princess Cup.
Yeah, I mean I won't play. Oh wow! Came absolutely steaming through. I think this is going to be a strip called, and
they try to rip each other's hands off through the disc.
Everyone seems to be okay. I was going to say if it's a strip, then he must be next to him. But showing there the hustle coming down the pool, yeah, maybe I'll see what I'm doing and might put it in my diary. It's going to be a little bit of a foul as he came towards the sideline here. I know where Juan's from. Venezuelan? I think he's from Venezuela. I should know that. Oh, inside break across the field, floats a little bit, and he's got back up. And his centering pass goes to Whittle. This is going to invite the bid, and the bid came in. Credit to Fire, they're not afraid to throw themselves around. Now he scurries up line. Nice pass there. Maybe a yard or so out, if that. Arcs gets that big around backhand into space towards the far sideline.
Pretty great final throw, yeah. The mark being a tiny bit lazy there. Grim got there late and thought that his player was going to send the disc straight away. And even though his player didn't, he got a bit lazy on the mark, didn't set it right.
And that's what. And you know, if you're not expecting or not at least aware of the unorthodox throws, you're going to get caught out more than once, I imagine, because they will come. He will put them.
So FUJ still ahead 7-2 in this game. We have we're potentially 1 point away from a half. The game's being 70 minutes on today and 80 minutes tomorrow.
What's the cap situation?
I think there is cap only at the end. So either it's halftime at 8 or halftime at 45 minutes. There's no break, no nothing.
Yep.
No cap. So we will see if we can get there early.
At this point, it would take a rather miraculous Fire comeback, given the way that these two teams have played so far, to get towards the half-time cap. As Shardlow just pops that little hammer over the top.
Fire working in a zone. FUJ get around it quite easily. Shardlow now with a huge scuba. Oh, sorry. Shardlow now with a huge forehand to Misha Marek.
Yeah, catching the scuba.
Who finds Stepan Krzyż's incredible end speed. Now it seems like Fire switched to person D. Vavra now on the sideline finds Willem. Willem finds Marek. Not called in.
And that is half time.
That is half.
What a convincing half of ultimate there from the Czechs. FUJ, you know, they came out and they were, what, 5-6-0 before Fire were able to get some points on the board, and credit to Fire because they've, you know, that timeout did work because they did restabilise themselves a little bit. They've certainly shown a bit more as that half ticked on, but FUJ just came out of the blocks, absolutely haired away, and Fire didn't really have an answer until late in that closing half, and so your halftime score is going to be FUJ 8, Fire of London 2. I'm going to see if we can just take a little bit of a breather so we can get some water on, stretch out our limbs, and we'll join you for the second half very shortly.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finny, he's done it.
Welcome back to Vienna Spring Break, which you can watch live for free here on ulti.tv's YouTube channel. Our second game of 8 today, and at first in the Open Division sees the Czech Republic's FUJ taking an 8-2 half-time lead over Fire of London. Benjamin Rees joined by Rahel Toshnerova here in the booth, wearing a slightly funky-looking wrist brace.
As always.
And FUJ will begin the second half on offense.
Quick movement from the handlers. Nemec working with Prach. Now to the front to Marek. Marek with Nemec. Good 3SB connection there. Again through the break side. Vavra now to Nemec. A nice deep shot. Find Riedlo in front of the end zone. And Petričák just all by himself for the final pass in the end zone.
I mean, that was like slicing and dicing. That was so, I don't want to say effortless, but they, yeah, they found the spaces and they exploited them ruthlessly.
When they get going, they get going.
Yeah, yeah, they do. There's a, as I say, there's a reason why they've, you know, they've climbed up the rankings in the last few seasons to be a consistent top 8 team in Europe, knocking on those semi-final places.
So it doesn't seem like Fire have come up with anything special for the second half defensively, but we still have a couple of points ahead of us.
Yeah, certainly it looks like it's going to be one of those where, yeah, just think about, they'll maybe come up rather than one definite plan and give themselves a few other options to use in the second half perhaps.
The way to go here is definitely just switching things up and trying all the stuff and tactics in your arsenal.
Yeah, as you mentioned, early season tournaments, you know, you've not necessarily a stable roster. You've got players coming in and out, so you know sometimes you can just have those miscommunications by switching things up every now and again, keeping them on their toes and trying to pick up off the breakdowns. That's a huge hammer to get themselves over the top of that zone. There's just no connectivity afterwards.
The players from the sideline signaling that there was no mark, therefore the thrower could have taken all the time in the world.
I'll tell you what I like to do when there's no mark, and that's, you know, give the disc quickly. Don't hold it, just give go as far as you can down the field. This one's going to be caught on the sideline. There's a pick in the center, but I don't know if it affected that throw.
Spek now trying to get a hand on the disc. A little bit of contact afterwards that could have been slightly cleaner, I think, but Fire of London player unaffected, catches the disc securely on the sideline. Now a bit more of a discussion. No hand signals, that would help us. But I think the disc should definitely stay where it is.
Still just a little bit of a demonstration as to perhaps where everyone exactly needs to be. And I think the disc is finally going to be checked back in. No, it's going back to the previous throw.
Interesting. Obviously, we have no idea what the call was. Probably a pick then.
Yeah, and when it occurred.
Exactly.
How it affected. So they're just going to keep the disc here. Both teams seems happy enough. And we're back in play. This time the disc goes in the same direction, nowhere near as close to the sideline. Again, little squirrely up line cut. Hammer over the top. Zings it to the back of the end zone.
And that seems to be the way for Fire. Two great hammers in this point, opening up the space for all the rest of the cuts. And if you're not worried to throw an upwind hammer like that, then you should 100% use it.
Yeah, and it's the wily veteran Jaipuria who makes the catch for Fire's third goal of the game. I think I might have to put a jumper on. I'm sorry.
I know the wind has picked up quite a bit. No trace to help you determine the strength of it, but you'll just have to believe us that it is getting a bit chilly here, but nothing compared to the freezing cold that was in the tents. I think the 3 groups we have here at this tournament are the people who were ready for the cold in the tent, who weren't ready for the cold in the tent at night, and then those
such as me, who thought they were ready, but turns out they weren't.
How unready were you?
Just the feet, really. I was actually fine, but my feet were cold and I was too lazy to get up and put on warmer socks.
Yeah, I guess one of the advantages of being of having a tournament in a location like Vienna, it's, you know, it's relatively central in Europe, so it means a lot of teams won't necessarily have to fly here, and it opens up, you know, more accessible travel and accommodation options as well, rather than having to pay a bucket load to ship a tent over on a budget flight.
FUJ from a split stack, madx underneath, a deep shot, and he brings it down right in front of the end zone. Resets to Riedlo. Riedlo looking for the break, doesn't have it. We'll have to go for the reset. Nope, he's just gonna find Tira. I can't think of the surname right now in the end zone. Again, quite an easy, quick point.
Yeah, it did stagnate a little bit around the end zone, but you know that, I mean, Riedlo's been doing this sort of thing for donkey's years, so he's, you know, never flustered by the situation. You know that if he sees the space, he's gonna be able to find it efficiently enough.
I think it was his unwillingness to look at the reset there. He just thought, I'm sure there's gonna be something that opens up in the end zone.
And if not, I'll make something open up.
That's right.
Sometimes you can just throw the receiver open, although on that occasion, didn't need to.
So 10-3 for FUJ, hard cap here being 15. So I wonder, should we bet if we no, we are past the halftime even. Yeah, it's just 70 minutes. Never mind. I thought if we could make the game just half the period, it's meant to be.
Not quite going to get that far, but. Here's Fire back on offense. FUJ have switched, going back into one-on-one. Seeing if this can be a bit more effective from them. Big layout bid, doesn't quite get there. And just a miscommunication, I think. Just receiver thought there was someone behind who maybe the disc was intended for. No one there. FUJ pick up with a chance for another break.
Ledinski, Doherty now on the sideline. Throws a big dump to Petr Hrych. FUJ signaling that we need people closer, just precisely to get the deep shot. František Vilimek with a break for FUJ.
And that is why when you've got throws of this quality, taking a dump, it's always good. If someone's free, you should always throw it. But when you do have a big arm, you can access, you know, pretty much every point of the field from wherever. You've always got that scoring opportunity. Sometimes it's good going backwards because it opens up that much more space, and it means you can really lead your receiver in towards the end zone rather than having them already there and just having to like stick it onto a postage stamp size window.
You're correct. It is good, but is it fun?
I mean, it's fun if you're the person who gets to bang it afterwards, yes.
Exactly. But if you're the person throwing the dump, I'm sure John Doherty would have preferred a nice deep cut for himself.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me, but take one for the team.
He has to. He's only after getting back slowly from 2 years of sitting in his chair, playing poker, and doing nothing. So if he wants to go back to competitive ultimate, he might need to do what needs to be done, such as throwing dumps.
Ingratiate yourself with your teammates.
And again, a zone lock from FUJ.
Yeah, it feels like they're especially deep. They're fronting the cutters, trying to say that we think we can win this athleticism matchup. We're challenging you to make these throws in a wind that has picked up again. Receiver was stopped, and the defender came through at full throttle to nick it away.
Sladek in front of the end zone. Gets the reset. Oh, Grim almost defended. Yeah, Sladek again. A lefty. One of the only probably the only lefty on the team right now. Grim now on the sideline, another Terrible Monkeys player. finds Litzek in the middle. They're looking for the break side, but no cuts and no throws allowed there. Halamka now, one of the captains of this team, and he finally finds Novak with his break forehand. And that's another break for FUJ.
Yeah, one of the advantages of getting the disc right the way to that sideline is it does open up that nice window to get that. It goes to the break side, but you're actually just throwing it flat because the stack's set so far on the open side that you've got that nice channel to throw into.
It was recently a source of misunderstanding and miscommunication between the women's and men's part of 3SB because we played mixed qualifier last weekend, and the boys, we tried to set up the disc so that we can play on the open side. Sorry, not the disc, the stack.
Yeah.
And the boys tried to make the space on the break side. So trying to put that together didn't work that well.
Yeah, with any particular offense, there's multiple ways to run it to set it up. You'll see. So we'll take as you say, with the vertical stack, for example, some teams like to give themselves a lot of open space, some teams like a lot of break space, some teams like to set short, so you've got the deep space to attack. Other teams like to set deeper, so when you're making these underpasses, you're gaining more yards. Some players like two handlers, some teams like just the one handler. There's always multiple ways to play any offense.
The point was that, you know, you should be adjusting it based on the conditions and the other team. So that's what we were trying to do, but we couldn't agree on whether. Yeah, the boys were still comfortable with their breakthroughs in the wind, and the girls would have preferred the open side open.
So how did their qualifiers go in the end?
Well, we lost twice to Terrible Monkeys. They did a great job playing Hex, I must point out. Yes. Tadeusz Grim coming to show off, even though he did not play himself at the qualifier.
But he was very proudly
proud of the team. Well,
yeah.
it is a great achievement actually, because 3SB has been doing quite well at the Czech national scene in the past years. So any win against us, I believe, is a huge success, and that's exactly what we need to keep pushing. Not only to stay at the top, but also to make our mark on the European scene eventually, hopefully. But not to turn this to a discussion about me, my team, and Czech Ultimate.
Yep.
We still have a few points.
Yeah, the Czechs are running away with it in this game, but of course there is still time left for Fire to potentially catch their opponents off guard and burn them. This is going to float for a while before being caught by Fire, and we're back underway here. Again, struggling really to get that initiation from downfield. Feels like everything's starting with the handlers and waiting for a bit of movement there before they can free up players further down. Oh, and there's going to be a violation here, I think.
I think maybe there was some contact on the mark or something like that. Nonetheless, good handler defense by FUJ.
Yeah, Rietschoten checks the disc back in. Get an underneath pass now to Fire. Rietschoten stumbles backwards a little bit. This is tipped, and the greatest attempt is batted down. I'm not sure whether it would have been inbounds anyway, but again, there's good endeavour there, even if it didn't come off.
100%. Rietschoten now, again, with his deep shot. Marek picks it up quite easily in front of the end zone and finds Petričák for the score.
Yeah, tried to jump it in, but ended up just short, but still stayed calm and won through later. They do get the goal they wanted, and they're now 10 points up at 13-3. This has been a dominating performance so far, I think, from FUJ.
You can see now the backfields of the venue. We have two more sort of right next to the streamed fields, or three more, and then 4 more fields towards the left side of the camera. Again, the greatest attempt, but Filip Lexa making sure that it is not completed. The fields here are quite lovely, I must say.
Yeah, it's my first time here in Austria at all. So that's my first time at Vienna Spring Break. It's a lovely little complex, a tournament that I've enjoyed watching on a few occasions, and yeah, it's nice to experience it for real.
The fields are slightly smaller, but the quality is amazing. No need for slipping, really, and quite comfortable to run on.
Yeah, this morning, as there always is, there was quite a lot of dew on the grass, and there was quite a few people walking around with slightly damp feet. But that's now the sun's now dried that out, and it's a lovely morning here in Austria.
Now we have another type of zone, I believe, from FUJ. This is a different one that they employed in the last points.
Yeah, they're again switching things up a little bit, trying to keep the Londoners guessing.
Not a bad idea because the wind is still quite strong. You can sort of see on the jerseys.
Yeah, it's just whipping and stiffening them a little bit.
Fire trying to find a hole, and they eventually do.
They just stayed with that look and eventually zinged it into the center of the field.
Number 69 seems to be open a lot. He just needs to keep looking at the disc, I think.
This is a steepling blade deep and couldn't quite bring it in.
František Willimek playing deep. Finally gets the disc. We have him on the sideline now, faking the hammer, finds Michal Chutka. He's hoping for the upline, being told to play dump to Doherty. Petr Hrich now, again to Doherty.
While Doherty's continuing to be poached, I'd keep going there.
And a quick dump and swing, and Patrik Novak with the score.
How many of these FUJ players are we going to be seeing next weekend in Wrocław for the European Masters Ultimate Club Championships?
None.
None of them at all?
Well, there is, I am not 100% sure, there's probably one, max 2 players who would be reaching the age of 33, but I actually don't think that either one of them is 33 yet. But I'll be there, Benji.
So will I.
Yes, so more fun commentating from the lovely Benji and me.
Yeah.
In Wrocław.
I'm very much looking forward to going back. It's a city that we've been to on a few occasions now, and we've been warmly welcomed every time. And of course, you can watch that coverage live and for free on Ulti.tv's YouTube channel, and the games stay up there afterwards as well for you to watch for free at your leisure. They don't go behind a paywall, and then if that is something that you want to support, then you can go and become a patron. You can find out Patreon details, and for a couple of euros a month, you can help us to do more and better coverage across Europe and internationally.
Because visibility matters.
It does indeed.
So a potential game point. FUJ again with their zone, can fire, work through it. This time they're going downwind.
Oh, just baited that one a little bit. The defender came in, got there a split second too late. They do constantly have these handler resets free. The question is, do Fire stay patient, or do they try and get a little bit more aggressive with it? Fenn's been poached for a good long while, and eventually he gets the disc.
They're going slowly but steadily.
And this is what they need to do, just stick with it. Because they are getting progression down the field. It's not quick, but it doesn't necessarily need to be.
We still have lots of game time, so...
We do indeed.
No hurry there.
This one a little bit more aggressive into space. Defender closes in, but no bid that time. Realizes that they were beaten, pulls out. 10 goes to Chilovsky.
Very relaxed marking there from FUJ.
Yeah, that kind of feel like they're happy to give these up. They don't mind that at all. They just want to make sure that they can stop any aggressive downfield passes.
Come on, Ted, at least spread your arms a bit. You know, look like you want to be there.
Now you need to spring the trap. Little pop push pass to Jaipuria. Sounds like they're transitioning into one-on-one near the end zone. Now they try and ratchet up the pressure, and it just sneaks through the fingers. It feels like a couple of times Fire have had that, where they've got the scoring pass and they just haven't quite made it stick.
That's quite unfortunate. That was really on the last pass there. And the receiver was open. It's just a combination of not a perfect throw and not a perfect catch. So Litzek will pick up.
Yeah, if Foy can march it down here, this would be the last possession and the end of the game.
Brach will go for the deep shot, but did he curve it enough? Yes, he did. Oh! Litzek was checking his feet to make sure he lands in, and as he looked down, that's where the disc sort of made the unexpected move.
Yeah, just took his eyes off it, as you mentioned, was focused on making sure he was in bounds, and he had room, had a little bit of room to spare, in fact. And yeah, just didn't quite watch the disc all the way in, and was punished for it.
Foy resets with the zone, but Fire moves quickly.
Yeah, there's no time like the present. If you see the spaces, that's a nice handler reset there. Sven squirrels and squirms his way free. Trying to utilise the width of the field, stretching their opponents laterally now, Fire. Jaipuria comes in close to get that crash. Nice little offhand throw there. Just threading it through, and now Fire opening up a little bit of space. Got players going deep, trying to occupy and stretch those defenders further downfield. That's nice, give, go. Get the disc in motion, get a little bit of pace and rhythm to the offense.
And it's unclear whether Foy transitioned. It seems like they're sticking with the zone still.
Yeah, certainly for the time being. They're just sitting in there a little bit rather than coming tight.
So all that Fire needs to do is find a hole.
So far, they can't do it. And they have to lose a fair few yards there, but that will give them a bit more space to work with, not going to be quite so congested. Might give them a chance to attack the end zone with a bit of verve.
With a bit of what?
Verve, panache. Like you get some speed, get some motion and rhythm to your offense rather than trying to do it from a standing start. A little bit of flair, perhaps. I just want some spicy stuff, basically.
There you go.
Oh, you don't need to. You can just walk it in. You can just walk it in, and that's certainly, even if it will not necessarily change the result of the game, it's got to be a pleaser for Fire.
It wasn't a flare. It wasn't a wow, but it was a point that counts, and that will keep Fire in the game for another point at least.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's a sick shoulder high layout grab or you just pop it to someone 1 meter away. They all count the same. Unfortunately.
I myself am a big fan of ugly ultimate, so you know.
If it works, it works.
If it works, it works, exactly. So another game point on our hands. I'm sure Fire would prefer a nice round number of 5, which is also the number of my jersey.
Solid number.
Solid number. With this wind, I think that gives them, that with their experienced throws, they do have a chance, but they first have to get the D.
Yeah, and so far Foy have been pretty parsimonious in possession. They've not given it away a lot.
So, tiny bit of a side stick, or either, no, they're in the middle. It's just a narrower, shorter field. So, Vavra will pick up, and he will have Shimon on the dump. A nice break throw to Willem. Sorry, Krish. Shimon with the reset. Willem now. Gets the forehand to Vavra. Vavra finds Riedlo. Riedlo to Lexa. Lexa knocking on the doorstep. And he will have Vavra with the quick upline cut. And it will be called in.
And that is 15-4. I don't think they, don't know if everyone's realised it, but that should be game.
Seems like there's a bit of a confusion about the score.
Because I'm not sure they were tracking it on the field, but by our scoreboard, that's 15-4 and that's game.
There should be a volunteer somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is with scoreboards, whether the teams track it themselves or whether there's volunteers, so we're just trying to get some clarification.
So
It's a little bit of confusion. Yeah, we've got the score as 15-4.
So it seems like both teams want to play another point. So I think it's completely fine when they decide to do so.
Looks like it is going to be handshakes and high fives. And yeah, FUJ, in the end, blew their opponents away, I think. Snuffed out the flames pretty comfortably en route to a 15-4 victory.
It was a pleasure being here with you, Benji. I can't wait for more.
It was good to have you back.
Thank you. And for all of you watching at home, please stay tuned for more fun matches. Not today, not just tomorrow, but all the time with our ultimate great Alti TV.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a break now, so we'll be back in 25 minutes time. 20 to 12 local time here, so you can adjust that to whatever time zone you're in, with more action from the women's division, with Poland's Troubles taking on a Mainzelmädchen from Germany. But for Rahel Toshnarova, I've been Benjamin Rees. Don't go anywhere. Vienna Spring Break continues in 25 minutes time, and we'll see you on the other side.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ultimate TV.